Welcome back to ECG and College Football 26. Last season, the way it ended, we lost Demon Williams, who transferred out, Jonah Coleman, who went undrafted, and then Denzel Boston is a wide receiver. As you can see, we have quite a few players here that transferred out due to pro potential or championship contender, a couple because of playing time. We signed the number 9 recruiting class, the highest ever that Washington has had, and now as we start this new season, we're going to break it down by searching by 4-star ratings and seeing who is interested in coming to the University of Washington. Right now we'll put Ben Webb and Mike Garfield on the board, see which one we end up with. On the running back situation, we're going to start out with Jason Tam and Ezekiel Hugo. On the wide receiver front, even though we don't really have a need for wide receivers, we are going to put the 3 players from Washington on the board: Thad Angel, Marvin Riggs, and Manu Satele. On the tackle situation, we'll start out with Damian Colon and Caleb Blount. On the edge situation, we're going to put Khalil Wells on the board. Always trying to go after defensive tackle, put Marco Boyette on the board. We'll also put Jamerson Fanene, Marvin Shudak, and Zay Pierce on the board for linebackers. And then Julius Cornelius and then Hayden Tobin for middle linebacker. For the cornerback, we'll put Gideon Mwamba on there, and we'll see if we can chase him down. Now, since we found all the 4 stars or better that we're interested in, we're going to search for some 3 stars and see who might be worth putting on the board for us. We're looking at Vernon Talbot from Washington. We'll put in Paul Basley, Earl Elfline, and Nate Saragusa in the guard situation. We weren't able to find any 4-star guards, so those 3-star ones will have to do. On the tackle situation, just in case we lose out on a 4-star like we did last year with Sione Rao to Notre Dame, we'll put on Lee LaRoque and Sean Hammond. The Sam linebacker situation, we'll put Warren Keys on the board. Lonnie Lay is an athlete at the middle linebacker. We'll put Josh Benavidez and Joshua Roundtree on the board, both from Washington, as free safeties, as a backup plan for our strong safeties, since strong safeties can be kind of tough to recruit in this game. As you can see, we've got Josh Barr and Zach Donahue in the strong safety category here, but not always are they able to be tracked down so easily. So they'll be on as backups just in case. And we do need a kicker. We're going to add all 3 of these kickers on there: Rick Hack, Paul Kellogg, and Kevin Ordonez, and we'll see what we can make happen with those 3. We'll just make sure we give everybody a scholarship, and then we will go from there. So to start out this season, we're going to be 86 overall in every category. And hopefully that sets up for a better year this year. Now that we've simulated forward 1 week, we're going to take a look at the recruits that we've got on the board and see which ones we're going to cut because we might not have a chance to get them. In the quarterback situation, looks like Ben Webb is going to be a casualty of that situation, as there's 5-tier pipelines chasing him. As far as running backs go, Ezekiel Hugo is going to stay on our board so far. But Jason Tam is going to get kicked off. Same casualty, too many 5-tier pipelines chasing him. Nobody's chasing after our wide receivers, so we're good. Damian Colon should be good. Caleb Blount is going to be our only challenge. Looks like Notre Dame is going to be chasing him. He is a gem 4-star, so we really want to try to get him. So we are going to kick off Lee LaRoque. We're not in his top 10 just yet, and Nevada is chasing him. We do have a higher pipeline, but we're just going to let Nevada chase after the busted 3-star tackle Lee LaRoque. These guards are going to be good to go. Nothing to worry about there. We don't need an edge, and Khalil Wells has too many people chasing him, so we'll kick him off, as well as Marco Boyette, the defensive tackle. Looks like Oregon is going to be a battle here for Zay Pierce. Marvin Shudak is going to get kicked off because too many 5-tiers are chasing after him. Jamerson Fanene, same casualty as well. But we should be able to grab Warren Keys here. So since Julius Cornelius is a bust, but nobody's really chasing that hard after him right now, we are going to throw some points at him and see if we can steal him away from Oregon. Last thing we want is Oregon stealing him and improving their team. Hayden Tobin is going to be a casualty of the 5-tier pipeline situation. And Lonnie Lay, nobody's chasing him, and we want to bury Oregon if we can. Don't have many points left, and I really want Gideon Mwamba, but we'll see what happens in another week. As far as Josh Benavidez and Joshua Roundtree go, we'll give them 10 points apiece here. And as you can see, my strong safety situation here, I've been locked out of them, so we're going to have to cut them out and really chase after both Josh Benavidez and Joshua Roundtree. So it looks like FCS Northwest is rather lowly rated, 47s across the board, traveling on the road to Husky Stadium to take on the Washington Huskies in the first game of the year. So this was a rather easy game for the Washington Huskies, as we played really well on offense and somewhat okay on defense. We did get an early sack in the game, and Ryan Otten became the starter at tight end over Decker DeGraff in the offseason. He's going to be getting the bulk of the passes this year on offense from Devin Dampier, who was our transfer quarterback. And Ahmad Hardy almost took that ball into the end zone. And the first Husky touchdown of 2026 goes to Dezmen Roebuck. FCS had to punt the ball rather quickly as Washington gets it and starts to move the ball down the field again. Ryan Otten yet again, and he almost should have had a touchdown right there, but he got tackled short. Setting up Ahmad Hardy for his first touchdown of the year. And there's a fumble, sack, return for touchdown by Jacob Lane. Like I said, this game turned out to be a blowout, and our offense played pretty well, except for the few times our defense decided to not show up in these situations you can see right here. And as fast as Ahmad Hardy is, he wasn't able to get in on the touchdown play there, but he was just a few plays later. Dylan Robinson had an interception in the second quarter that set the Huskies up for an easy touchdown to Rashid Williams. And when all is said and done, the final score was 52-20, and Devin Dampier was quite the star of the game. 333 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. This time the Huskies go on the road to Los Angeles to take on the USC Trojans down in the Coliseum. They're just slightly ranked better than the Huskies at 89 overall in every category. So we'll see how this game turns out on the road. Early on, USC gives the Washington defense quite the scares. They move the ball rather easily down the field on defense, scoring first and getting a touchdown. And then the defense gets an early sack, scaring Husky fans even more, but eventually he shrugs it off and gets Decker DeGraff in the end zone for a touchdown. Washington getting the ball back a couple drives later, scores to Dezmen Roebuck in the end zone. And this is going to be a back and forth game as we head into halftime, tied 14-14. Washington starting with the ball coming out of halftime, moved it down the field rather quickly and easily, but had to settle for a field goal by Ethan Mogzolski, which was good. Next series, USC throws an interception, which the Huskies turn into yet another field goal, stretching the lead 20-14 on USC. And a huge play by Decker DeGraff was erased because of a penalty. But the Huskies were fighting strong, trying to see if they can fend off USC at home as they took the lead late with a minute 30 remaining in the game. But the Huskies find a way to get into the end zone with just 20 seconds remaining, and they score a 2-point conversion. And the ball falls to the ground on the last-heave effort, securing a road victory over a ranked Trojans team in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. This week it's time for the Huskies to go on the road again to Pullman, Washington to take on the Washington State Cougars in another battle for the Apple Cup. Last year the Cougars went on the road and got smacked at Husky Stadium, so this year they're looking to make the game a little closer. Washington State got on the board early with a field goal, but Washington marched down the field and responded with a touchdown to take the lead back. In what initially looked like it was going to be a challenging game, they had to settle for another field goal, 7-6 now as we get into the second quarter. But Washington drove down and had to settle for a field goal themselves. Washington State trying to score before the end of the half, but they failed to do so, had to settle for a field goal. And the Huskies take over with just over a minute remaining, and they're trying to see if they can widen the gap before halftime hits. And they do get a touchdown to Dezmen Roebuck. Starting the second half with the ball, the Huskies look to see if they can widen the gap over the Cougars here in Martin Stadium as they march down the field and score a Ahmad Hardy rushing touchdown. 24-9 is the score now, and the Huskies look to add another, and they do. Now up 31-9 on the Cougars, and late field goal makes it 34-9 as the final, as the Huskies walk away with the Apple Cup again. Looks like we had a commit this week from Paul Basley, a guard out of Seattle, Washington. Ahmad Hardy was the Big Ten Player of the Week. So we have these two tackles, Damian Cologne, who's being tracked down by Penn State, and Caleb Blount, who's being tracked down by Michigan and Notre Dame. We're putting them on hard sells to see if we can't widen the gap and secure the services of these players. We have 81 overall Minnesota going on the road to Husky Stadium to take on the Huskies. Minnesota really struggled to get the offense going and had to punt the ball away rather quickly. Washington had to settle for a field goal on their first drive, and Ethan Mogzolski puts it through the uprights. Washington has the ball to start the second quarter as they're moving the ball down the field again. It wasn't without their struggles, though, as there's a fumble on the play, and they did have to punt the ball because of it. Getting the ball back with 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, Huskies try to see if they can move the ball down the field, score a touchdown, and Ahmad Hardy breaks through the line and into the end zone for a touchdown. The play action wasn't working at all today. Every time they run it, that keeps getting tackled for a loss. Minnesota's trying to see if they can make some noise before the end of half, and they found a deep guy all the way downfield in less than a minute to go. And sometimes the computer will challenge a play and sometimes they won't, and they did not on that play when he was clearly out of bounds. And the running back shows strong legs and gets a touchdown for Minnesota before the end of half. And both sides are really struggling to move the ball as the game continues, and Minnesota takes a lead for the second time today. Up 14-10 on the Huskies, but they're putting together a drive themselves to see if they can take the lead back. Finds Dezmen, Roebuck, and they're inside the 10-yard line, first and goal. And then they find Rashid Williams for a touchdown to take the lead back. And there's another fumble, sack, and Jacob Lane again with the recovery. This time it's not a touchdown, but a huge play by the defense. Set them in just the right position to score a touchdown, now extending their lead 24-14. Minnesota narrows the gap to 7 with that field goal kick there. The Huskies are trying to see what they can do to shorten this game as we're in the fourth quarter now. Moving the ball down the field, keeping it in, no more timeouts now, and they punch the ball into the end zone, securing a victory on this game, at least widening the gap to 14 points. And the hope of winning this game is starting to fade a little bit as they continue to march the ball down the field. If they do score a touchdown here, they'll have to recover an onside kick, and that is what they do. Victorious over the Gophers at home. Alright, the Huskies go on the road to Indiana to take on the Purdue Boilermakers, who are 72 overall with a 74 offense and a 69 offense. We should handle business here on the road, but you never know, because last year was a similar situation. Purdue went on the road to Husky Stadium, and we barely eked out a game in a terrible weather situation. At least this one looks like it will be sunny, but not against a very good Purdue team, so we'll have to see what happens, as they are 2-1 and we are 4-0. Purdue starts with the ball, and they methodically move the ball right downfield on the Huskies. Very little resistance for the Boilermakers as they have to settle for a field goal. But the struggle today was definitely the offensive line as Dampier throws an interception into double coverage. Once again, slowly but surely moving the ball downfield is Purdue. We did get a nice sack on the play. And just like that, they scored yet again, taking the lead 10-0 over the Huskies. Thankfully, that first quarter's over. It's time for the second. Can the Huskies figure something out? Finally, across midfield here against the Boilermakers, putting together quite the drive. And we get a touchdown out to Dezmen Roebuck, narrowing the gap down 10-7. And what an incredible play by Purdue. Huge play down the field. The defense did step up once they got into the red zone yet again, forcing Purdue to settle for a field goal. Tackling seems to be an issue again as this guy gets free down into the middle of the field. And Purdue is going to score another touchdown just before the end of half. Now up 20-7 on Washington. No more timeouts, so we really have a lot of work to do here. Trying to see if we can make something happen before the end of half to narrow the gap. When nothing happened, so we're coming out of halftime with the ball, marching down the field on the Boilermaker defense. A lot of Ryan Otten plays here, and then Ahmad Hardy plows into the end zone. 20-14 now, as Purdue's slowly picking apart the defense again. One of the rare times Purdue is going to have to punt the ball today. But Washington's looking to see if they can narrow the gap a little bit more. Well, Ethan Moczulski comes in to kick a field goal, and it was good. So a 3-point deficit now for the Huskies as Purdue's trying to move the ball down the field. A real back and forth game, not necessarily score-wise, but not a lot going on between the two teams. Zadrius Rainey-Sale with the interception, giving hope to the Husky fans here on the road. And there we go, Washington taking their first lead of the day, 24-20. So the score is 24-20, and Purdue has the ball here at the end of the fourth quarter, trying to see if they can take the victory from the Huskies here late in the game. 34 seconds remaining, third and goal. And they score a touchdown with very little time for Washington to make a response. 5 seconds remaining. Can Washington pull out a miracle on the road in Purdue? And that will fall incomplete, and they do not. They lose on the road to Purdue against a very untalented team. It's going to be a horrible loss. And Zay Pierce commits to Washington out of Westland, Oregon. And Manu Satele from Seattle, Washington. And as we see, Caleb Blount is being chased by Notre Dame, Michigan, and Cal. But we're starting to pull away now from Notre Dame. We do have his visit scheduled for Week 7 with a couple of other complimentary visits. Hopefully we can secure him as a commit to Washington. Another battle that's coming to a head here is Julius Cornelius, as Oregon has a little bit more influence going into him than we've got. We do have a visit scheduled for Week 6. Hopefully we can get him to commit. Now it is time to go back home and play against Indiana, who is now 79 overall, with a 79 offense and 81 defense. And after a battle of the defense back and forth in the first quarter, Indiana looks to kick a field goal here with 1 second remaining in the first quarter. Huskies have to punt the ball and push Indiana out at the 2-yard line, so Indiana's going to have their backs in the end zone as they start their drive. Nothing to worry about as they find a play that gets them out to the 19-yard line. And the volleys for the Washington offense kick into gear again as Ahmad Hardy fumbles the ball away, and Indiana has great field position here late in the second quarter. But there was a great defensive stand by the Washington defense as they had 3 shots to score it from the 1-yard line and had to settle for a field goal, which was no good. Luckily, that fumble was recovered by the offense. Holy cow. Ahmad Hardy's had great success on this drive, picking up a couple of first downs and moving the ball down the field as the Huskies score a touchdown to Ryan Otten, taking the lead here in the third quarter. And Indiana responds rather quickly and takes the lead back. What a catch by Dezmen Roebuck, putting the offense in great position to score. What a great catch by Rashid Williams in the corner of the end zone. As they take the lead back, Indiana is trying to see if they can find a way to retake the lead here. Wow. Indiana marched right down the field and took the lead back. This is a critical game as we've got several recruits visiting. A victory would be paramount here. And just like that, a broken play gets Rashid Williams into the end zone. Have to go for it on fourth down here, and it does fall to the ground. And the defense stepped up in a huge way there late in the fourth quarter And the Huskies were able to secure a victory here at home against Indiana. Julius Cornelius committed to Washington. What a battle that was against Oregon. Sean Hammond commits. Warren Keys commits. And Lonnie Lay. Looks like the Iowa Hawkeyes are traveling on the road to Husky Stadium this week to take on the Washington Huskies. They are 80 overall with an 81 offense and a 79 defense. This game wasn't really a close game at all, as the Huskies pretty much dominated in every facet today against the Hawkeyes at Husky Stadium. Moving the ball rather easily on the Hawkeye defense, and doing what they needed to on defense as well to the Hawkeye offense. Some big plays to Ryan Otten, and Devin Dampier showing off his running legs allowed the team to put themselves in a great position to secure a dominant victory here today against the Hawkeyes. And they went for it on 4th down, and a pass to Ahmad Hardy out of the backfield, runs out of the end zone, and that secured 2 points for the Hawkeyes as a safety. The Hawkeyes were able to score a touchdown late in the game, and they supposedly got a touchdown on that play, but they'll give it to them as we walk away with a 31-9 victory over the Hawkeyes. So after the game, we got Ezekiel Hugo to commit, Thad Angel to commit, Damian Colon to commit, Caleb Blount to commit, and Joshua Roundtree to commit. So 5 commits that week. That was a good visit week. Washington at 6-1 is still not ranked in the top 25, which is a bit puzzling because Michigan State at 5-1 is. Looking at the top 25 media poll and others receiving votes category, looks like we are number 26 at 261 votes. Not quite there, but a victory this week should put us there. As we travel on the road to East Lansing, Michigan to take on the Michigan State Spartans. And Michigan State, with the ball to start the game, marches down the field to score an early touchdown. It did not take them long to go down the field and score on our defense. A great drive by the Huskies, marching down the field, found a way to get into the end zone with some big plays by the running back, the wide receivers, and Dampier himself. Huskies were able to get the ball back again, and they were trying to do their best to replicate their first drive as they marched down the field. 7-7 game, they're inside the red zone now, and they punched the ball in with Ahmad Hardy to secure the lead, 14-7 on the Spartans. The Huskies were able to march the ball down the field yet again to take a 21-7 lead. Ahmad Hardy scoring a second touchdown on the day. Under a minute to go, and Michigan State's trying to see if they can narrow the gap before halftime hits. They're settling for a rather long field goal here, and it is off the crossbar, no good. Coming out of halftime, the Huskies start with the ball, and they continue to do what they've done all day, as Rashid Williams breaks the tackle and takes the ball all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. And you would think with a 21-point lead, this game would be over, but you don't know the Husky defense like I do, as they settle for a field goal here to narrow the gap 28-10. It was about this point where my gut started to really churn a little bit, as Michigan State makes that catch inside the red zone, 4th and 3 going for it, and they score a touchdown to bring it down to 28-17. offense has really struggled here in the second half outside of that first drive. Haven't been able to get much going. But they finally find a way to score here and widen the gap 35-17. And there's a big play touchdown for Michigan State to narrow that gap once again, 35-24. But Washington did its best to minimize the clock, to run the clock down, and Devin Dampier scampers into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day. 42-24, and Michigan State gets a late touchdown to make the game look much closer than it was. But Washington goes on the road and comes out victorious against the Michigan State Spartans. Mike Garfield commits to Washington. Vernon Talbot commits to Washington. And Rashid Williams was the Big Ten Player of the Week. It's time for the Washington Huskies to go on the road and take on the Oregon Ducks. They are a 97 overall, 96 offense, 99 defense. The Huskies finally get ranked number 18, but how long will they stay ranked if they walk out of here without a victory against the Oregon Ducks, who are ranked in the top 15 at number 14? As the Washington travels down the I-5 corridor to Eugene to take on the Ducks. And in a game where there was very little that went right for the Huskies, they ended up losing 24-3. With that loss, we do not drop out of the top 25, but we are at number 24, narrowly sitting inside at 7-2. This time, the Vanderbilt Commodores from the SEC are 60 overall, 61 offense, 59 defense, coming in to face off against the Washington Huskies. In a game that shouldn't have been as close as it ends up turning out, the Huskies moved the ball down the field on the Commodore defense and were able to score a touchdown to start it off to Ryan Otten. And the defense played extremely well as Ethan Moxolski hits a long field goal to make the lead 10-0. Defense played really well today as Dylan Robinson ended up getting an interception, and Devin Dampier takes the ball into the end zone to extend the lead 17-0 over the Commodores. And finally, that woke the Commodores up as they decided that it was time to play football, but was it too little too late in this game? They did have to settle for a field goal, and it is good, narrowing the gap to 14-point deficit, as Devin Dampier throws into triple coverage and giving the Commodores more life as Vanderbilt moved the ball on the Huskies down the field, eventually resulting in a touchdown for the Commodores, narrowing the gap from 17-3 to 17-10. Devin Dampier finds Raiden Vinesbright in the end zone for a touchdown to take a 24-10 lead at halftime. And Ethan Moxolski kicks another field goal through the uprights. And the Huskies extend 27-10. And now back on the other side of the field, a similar kick to the last one is good by Ethan Moxolski. And that will be the last points that the Huskies score all day. 20-point lead over Vanderbilt here in the fourth quarter. But Vanderbilt scores a touchdown here, bringing it 30-17. Commodores with the ball score another touchdown late in the game, have narrowed the gap down 30-24 with a minute 30 in the game. And eventually the Huskies were able to run them out of timeouts and run this clock out, securing a victory, but it should never have been as close as the 30-24 scoreline said. Now the Huskies will go on the road to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are dead even on everything across the board. This was a classic all-time game between Nebraska and Washington on the road. Classic back and forth. Very little defense was played. Offenses doing what they wanted to on the defenses. Nebraska was early on the board with 3 points. Eventually, Washington drove down the field, scored a touchdown to take a lead on Nebraska here on the road. 7-3, Ryan Otten with the touchdown. As Nebraska decided they needed to score a touchdown to themselves as they moved the ball down the field and scored easily on the Husky defense. Nebraska, with the ball back, trying to score yet another touchdown to go up 17-7, and they get in the end zone with their running back. But the Huskies decided to wake up after not having done much on offense here. End of the first half, and they are trying to secure a touchdown, and they find Chris Lawson for that touchdown to make it 17-14 going into the half. Just kidding, Nebraska got bailed out by a penalty and was able to get into field goal range and go up 20-14 at halftime. A great catch there by Chris Lawson as the Huskies move the ball down the field on Nebraska, and another spin, this one by Kevin Green Jr., and he gets into the end zone. 21-20 now, Huskies over Nebraska. But Nebraska, every time it seemed like the Huskies scored a big touchdown, would respond with yet another touchdown themselves as Reliaquest gets into the end zone and throws a quick pass to the wide receiver for a touchdown. Scores 26-21 as Ahmad Hardy shakes out a defender here, and Kevin Green Jr. gets inside the 5-yard line, and the Huskies score a touchdown just like that, very quickly as Dezmen Roebuck got into the end zone. Now up 28-26. Nebraska is pushing the ball down the field, has to settle for a field goal, and they get it. Take a 29-28 lead. Late in the fourth quarter here, Nebraska moving the ball and gets a touchdown to go up 36-28, and the Huskies need to score a touchdown here to force overtime. As they move the ball down the field and overthrows a receiver, which could have been that touchdown, but they still have time, and that could have been an interception. Everything falling apart as they find Chris Lawson into the end zone. Now they need to get the 2-point conversion to hope to play a little longer here in Lincoln, and they do get the 2-point conversion. Overtime did not go according to plan as the Huskies were forced to settle for a field goal on their first possession. So if they can't stop Nebraska from scoring a touchdown, then this game will be over, and just like that, Nebraska scores and they walk off with victory here over the Huskies. So both Penn State and Washington are 8-3. This is to see who can get to 9 wins on the season. And Ahmad Hardy scores the first touchdown, juking a defender running all the way into the end zone for touchdown. And this was a very defensive-heavy game as Penn State scores with a field goal there. And Washington's looking to push the ball down the field to see if they can set up another score. And they do get in on a Ryan Otten touchdown. 14-3 is the score now. Heading into halftime, Penn State is looking to score a touchdown, and they do just before halftime, bring the score 14-10. Devin Dampier makes a silly mistake and throws an interception, giving Penn State good field position to start this drive. And eventually that ball is intercepted by Washington, and that is a short field for the Huskies, and they get a fumble, and this game was crazy. Back and forth turnovers in the third quarter there, as Penn State recovers the fumble and has short field position, but the Huskies were able to hold them to a field goal, so it's 14-13 for the Huskies. Late in the fourth quarter here, Penn State is finally putting together a good drive as they're now down in Husky territory, and they get a touchdown with just under a minute and 40 remaining in the half. They're going for 2 points to make it a 7-point game. Now the Huskies have to drive all the way down the field in under a minute and 20 seconds as they're moving the ball. 20 seconds, Devin Dampier scrambles, takes off, and he is tackled inside the 5-yard line with no timeouts remaining. The clock is running. So on 2nd and goal, the Huskies are looking to see if they can score a touchdown. And they do score a touchdown. It is Ahmad Hardy with the reception out of the backfield. And the Huskies going for 2, lead by 1 with 5 seconds remaining in the game. And the Huskies intercept the last heave effort by Penn State to walk away with the victory, getting to 9-3 on the season. Marvin Riggs finally decided to commit to Washington, and Dalton Jamerson out of Honolulu, Hawaii commits. John Mateer wins the Heisman Trophy. Dylan Robinson won the Jim Thorpe Award for Best Defensive Back. And Washington will be facing conference foe Maryland in the Reliaquest Bowl. And being ranked number 13 means we just missed out on a playoff spot. I did rearrange the list a little bit, so it's easier to go through, and we'll start with Dalton Jamerson, who has Elite Dev. Ezekiel Hugo has star. Thad Angel has star. Marvin Riggs has star. Damian Colon has star. Caleb Blount has star. Paul Basley has star, and he's our first 3-star guy that actually has star development. Now we're into the impacts. Manu Setele has impact. Zay Pierce has impact. Sean Hammond has impact. Mike Garfield is normal. And the rest of these are just normal dev traits. Julius Cornelius, Vernon Talbot, Warren Keys, Lonnie Lay, Joshua Roundtree. And we still have these guys here that have not committed just yet. The hopes are that they will be committing here soon. And we did have Amani, who is normal dev, thankfully. He committed to Texas, so we don't need to worry about him anymore, so we'll just take him off the board. And now we get to take on conference opponent Maryland in our bowl game. You remember last year we lost to Malik Washington and the Maryland Terrapins. Let's see if the outcome will be any different and if Malik Washington is still their quarterback. And it looks like Malik Washington is still going to be with the Terrapins as we head over to play in the Reliaquest Bowl. This is a great battle between Maryland and Washington. Did not start out well with Washington throwing an interception early, and Maryland capitalizing by scoring a field goal. Washington struggled on offense early in this game, and Maryland kicks yet another field goal, taking a 6-0 lead on Washington. And Washington moves the ball downfield despite fumbling the ball. They recover it, and Devin Dampier gets another rushing touchdown on his season. He played pretty well for us at quarterback this year. It's a great senior addition to have. And Maryland responds with a touchdown of their own to retake the lead 13-7 over the Huskies. And Ethan Mogzolski kicks a deep field goal and makes it barely to narrow the gap 13-10. Devin Dampier leads the offense, finally finding some rhythm here late in the first half into the end zone, and it's Kevin Green Jr. with the touchdown for the Huskies. And Maryland got a field goal off to end it at the half, 17-16, and they have the ball to start the third quarter as they continued to march the ball on the Husky defense. And they score a touchdown on the Husky defense, taking the lead 23-17. But the Huskies would not stay silent as they marched down the field and found Rashid Williams in the end zone with the touchdown. And here goes Maryland marching the ball yet again on the Husky defense. Very little resistance, but that one would end up in a punt away for Maryland, as the Huskies have the ball here in the fourth quarter, trying to see if they can extend their lead, and they do. It's Rashid Williams with a touchdown. The Huskies trying to run some clock and force Maryland to burn their timeout so they can end this game. And they get the first down there, and it looks like they're going to be able to salt this game away as Ahmad Hardy picks up a first down, and that will end it for sure. And the Huskies will walk away with a 31-23 victory over Maryland. In the college football playoff, which we narrowly missed, you had Alabama losing to Oklahoma, Ohio State beating North Texas, Oregon beating Tennessee, Notre Dame beating TCU. In the quarterfinals, you have Oklahoma losing to Georgia, Ohio State losing to Texas Tech, Oregon losing to Ole Miss, Notre Dame losing to Duke. In the semifinal, you have Georgia beating Texas Tech and Ole Miss beating Duke for an all-SEC showdown for the national championship. Ole Miss versus Georgia. And the winner of it all this year was Georgia over Ole Miss, 45-27 in the national championship. So on the year, Devin Dampier completed 79% of his passes for 3,800 yards and 30 touchdowns. He did have 6 interceptions. He was pretty careful with the ball. It's just some of those interceptions came at unfortunate times in the game, resulting in a couple losses. Rushing the ball, Ahmad Hardy had 751 rushes and 12 touchdowns, and Devin Dampier had 221 yards and 6 touchdowns. On the receiving side of things, Rashid Williams had 70 receptions for 818 yards and 8 touchdowns, and Dezmen Roebuck had 69 receptions for 761 yards and 8 touchdowns. Ryan Otten and Ahmad Hardy also had 4 touchdown receptions each. On the defensive side of the ball, Dylan Robinson had 98 tackles. Zadris Rainey-Sale had 92, and Owen Chambliss had 90. Thought Owen Chambliss had a better year than that. He led the team in tackles for loss, as well as Russell Davis had 16 and Bryce Butler had 14. Our leading sack guy was Bryce Butler with 5.5, and Dylan Robinson led the team with 2 interceptions. We do have a potential of a couple of players leaving our team. Hopefully we can make something happen to keep them to stay. So Ahmad Hardy is going to be going to the NFL draft. as well as Rashid Williams. And to be fair, I am going to let both of them go to the draft because we brought in 3 receivers when we didn't need any, and I don't want to clog that room and have more players want to leave. It would be great to get Owen Chambliss to stay. He wants to leave because of pro potential. So, gonna try to keep the rest of the players on the list here. He is staying. That is awesome for our defense. How about Radens Vines Bright? He is not leaving. I'm okay with that. I wanted to keep him, but we did bring in 3 receivers. So it's a good thing I brought in receivers because we have 2 leaving right now. Can we keep Adam Muhammad? You're going to get playing time, brother. Your guy in front of you, Ahmad Hardy, is leaving. Come on, stay. Dang it. I really wanted to keep you, Adam. Sorry, bro. Brian Incoom wants to leave because of playing time, but he's going to get that now. Darian Clemens wants to leave. And Mike Stern. So we're only keeping a couple of these guys. Actually, no, just the one. Owen Chambliss. He's the only one staying. We do lose Russell Davis, Ryan Otten, Javon Parker, Jacob Lane. Haven't called Zari Alexander's name too often. And Kevin Green, we're losing him as well. So we are losing a fair amount of our wide receiving core that was productive this year. Alex McLaughlin is going to the draft, and he should be drafted in the 4th round. We are going to replace our kicker. We just haven't found him yet, but Ethan Machzolski is leaving. And what a year he had as a senior year. And Devin Dampier is leaving. And Blaine Myrick. So we have some work to do to set this team up a little bit better in the future here. All right, so when we ended the season, Daryl Aviles, Brian Silver, John Capra, Sam Roche, Benjamin Bartow, Latwan Roth, Racy DeBeer, James Bonito, and Jahiel Cantu. They were all players on our board that other teams were chasing. They haven't committed yet. I'm hoping that they will commit this week, as I've put most of them on their hard sells and a couple on visits. Really hoping that we can secure them and they'll come to our school. Okay, so I have a conundrum. And my conundrum is that I need a kicker. And I was thinking about this guy, Jamie Goetz, or Getz, however you say that, as being the kicker because he has silver deep range and he has mental clutch kicker. However, he's 89-82 on the kick power and kick accuracy. Don't know what his caps will be, but they're there. Or we could go after Carlos Lorello, who has 93 kick power and 80 accuracy, a little bit less on the accuracy. He has bronze deep range, but he has winning time and roller coaster. I'm not sure which one I want to go after, but no matter who I go after, I'm going to get them because nobody is coming after them, as you can see. I do like the idea of having clutch kicker as a mental. Maybe he'll perform better in simulations. But I do like having a gem with 93 power. And then the only other player that I put on the board, just because we kind of need a quarterback, and I thought it would be kind of cool to see if we could get him to come to our school. Because he does have that speed-ish that I've seen him play with on TV. He is labeled as a pocket passer, so maybe he can kind of grow into the role. He is a sophomore, so he might be around for a year or two, or he might not. But I'm going to try to go after Bear Bachmeier. Just because I like the way he played this year, and it seems like he's a pretty good quarterback. And since I've got extra points here, we're just going to throw them on these other players that we haven't put points to because I didn't know if I was going to have extra points or not. So we've got our board all pointed up and everybody on it. So let's go see where the draft results went. We did have 3 players go in the draft: Ahmad Hardy, Devin Dampier, Rashid Williams, and Alex McLaughlin. So that'll be good for our pro potential grades. Let's see what next week brings and the recruits that commit. Josh Benavidez was the only one. Latwan Roth committed to Oklahoma. Unfortunately, Oklahoma continued to chase him, and we just did not have the way to get him. And looks like Clemson and North Carolina are still chasing after Benjamin Bartow, so that's not good for us. So we are going to be in a couple of battles here. Looks like John Capra will commit to us. Brian Silver is going to go to Michigan. But we will be getting Darrell Aviles. Unless I do this. Bear Bachmeier might go to USC, but I'm going to schedule his visit for this week. We're just going to see how this goes. He likes our playing style, and that's a B. That's fine. I'm going to schedule. Oh, I can't schedule his visit this week. Gosh, dang it. Oh, well, it is what it is now. Everything that I had going in my mind for plans is just gone to pot in a handbasket. Okay, well, that is what it is. Yep, we are going to lose out on some of those offensive linemen, but that will be what it is. No worries there. Still not into either. Ooh, we got into Jamie Guts top 10, and we haven't made it there on Carlos Lorello yet. We'll see how that plays out. In the meantime, I'm still chasing both of them. We'll see how they play out. Okay, Darrell Aviles committed to us. That's good to know. And John Capra. And Earl Elfline. And Cantu knocked us out, so we're out on him. We're out on Rashid DeBeer. And we're out on Brian Silver. We're probably not going to get Sam Roche either, the 5-star busted linebacker. And doesn't look like we're going to get Benjamin Bartow either. So, is this a position of need? It is. We do need mics. And I'm not going to get 2 of these guys. So, I guess I kick them off the board because I'm not going to get them. And I need to free up some time to go find some. Bachmeier is most definitely going to be committing to USC. There's nothing I can do about it. Not unless we can figure out his hard sell. Which is okay. I've got a quarterback. I just didn't know if I was going to need that quarterback. All right, so we lost James Benito to Missouri. Didn't catch that one on the last go around when I was cutting players off the board. Looks like Bachmeier is going to be going to USC, so that is a bit unfortunate. I was hoping to try to get him. Getz and Corello are on the board. We added Gabari Johnson out of Oregon State. Harvey Snee. Mana Toyoti. Malachi Boone. Joel Leo. And James Finley to the board. And looks like all of those players are going to be committing to Washington at the end of this week. Just some depth pieces. Hopefully some of them actually turned out to be pretty decent. We will find out here in just a moment. So we don't know the status of the new players that just committed during National Signing Week. We've got Darrell Aviles, who is Impact. John Capra, who's normal. Elfline, who is Impact. We held on to him the whole entire year. Nobody chased after him, and he's from Washington. Siragusa is normal. Josh Benavidez is Impact, also Washington guy that we held on to all year, nobody chased. Getz, the kicker, has star potential. Interesting. See, this was the challenge between these two. I did not know what their depth trait was going to be, but honestly, seeing that he has star potential, I kind of like him a little bit more, even though this guy's a gem. Gabari Johnson has Impact, and he's got a good set of abilities there. Impact for Harvey Snee, normal for Tui Oti, so that's not great. Boone is Impact. Star on Joel Leo. And I saw these 2 cornerbacks here between Leo and Finley and their speed, and I was like, ooh, it says I need a cornerback, but that speed and acceleration on both these guys was worth it to take both of them. Star on Joel Leo is awesome. He's just a freshman, so he'll bloom in our defense. And then Impact for James Finley is okay. It's not great, but he's got the speed and acceleration. He's got the zone coverage Just as man coverage needs to be brought up just a little bit, and we'll probably get to that next week. And then where did we finish among the top classes? So last year we finished number 9, and this year we finish at number 18. I don't know how we finished at number 9 last year, but we did. But this year we do finish at 18. Maybe because we didn't get any 5-star guys? Interesting. We do need to go into position changes because I did bring in a couple of free safeties. We need to switch over to strong safeties. And we did bring in Mike Garfield, who is a dual threat athlete, and he wants to play quarterback. Manu Satele is a wide receiver, although it looks like he would be better suited to be playing running back. Interesting. I might be down with that. We'll have to go look at our running back room. And then Lonnie Lay should be a linebacker area guy. And it doesn't matter much where he plays. So let's go look at our running back room. We did bring in Ezekiel Hugo, and where did it say his overall would be if we put Manu Satele there? 76, so he would be on the cusp. And his deal breaker was interesting. I don't know. Pro potential. Well, that's good because we just had a running back get drafted in the draft. And Julian McMahon is showing progress that he could be a guy to get there too. Although our running back room is loaded right now. We've got 4 guys above 75. And then these 2, we're not even going to need them, to be honest. So while I brought them in as transfers, they are not going to get anywhere. Dezmen, Roebuck, and Chris Lawson are going to be our wide receivers. Looks like we've got Marcus Harris and Audric Harris as the 3 and 4 guys. So I will redshirt Thad Angel and Marvin Riggs, and they will be ready to go, probably because we'll lose Roebuck and Lawson due to off-season upgrades. And they will be ready to go the following year. Tight end, we have Decker DeGraff and Cade Eldridge. We're going to need tight ends in this next off-season, so maybe, I mean, here's the challenge, though, with Manu Satele that we have as an athlete. He doesn't have the weight. Like, we already put Amari Rashid in here because we needed a tight end, and he's only 192. Like, that's not a tight end weight. This is closer to tight end weight, and Manu Satele is just 208 pounds. So he's not going to pack on 50 pounds throughout his career. That's just not happening. Yeah, John Mills and Paki Finau, they're both going to go in the draft this next year. I'm almost certain of that. Especially John Mills. I mean, he's 92 already. He ain't going nowhere. To be honest, I wonder if he'd be better at center. Because I need some strength there. Oh yeah, we'll put him there. And get Paki Finau on our line there. So we're going to shore up our offensive line just by switching a position like that. That's phenomenal, by the way. Champ Tualealea, he's a sophomore redshirt, so he'll be all right. So we really need some strong offensive line help right now. And we are seriously lacking in that department. We do have Kevin Pedrino who could pull up. We did bring in Damian Colon, who will be a star and start to grow into that role rapidly, but he is not there yet. He won't get any training points in this offseason. Okay, so I'm doing some stupid things here, but I'm curious. Because he is a star, so he's going to get points in the offseason, and he's higher rated than what we've got over there at left tackle right now. I want to make sure that we shore up our offensive line. And he will be 82, but he's going to get huge points in the offseason because of his star dev trait. The only question I have is, does he have cap room? No, he does not. That's a bit unfortunate. So Champ Tualalea is not going to be the guy for us there. So Onefa Solo, he is doing okay. Nothing to worry about there. He's got plenty of room to grow. Problem is he's a senior and has all that cap room, and he's only impact dev. So he's not going to grow tremendously. We're going to take Roland Marsh and throw him on the left edge. And why are we doing that? Because he's a 75 with impact dev, and we've got a 75 with normal dev. So he should grow faster than him and be ready to take over that position. There's Joel Leo with his star development trait that we just brought in. There's James Finley with his impact development trait. So they're very similarly rated. Henry Tolson had star development on him, so I threw him over to strong safety. And then I'll throw Joshua Roundtree over to strong safety as well. And that should even out our safeties here. Then we've got our two kickers, both star dev. I'm not sure how this is going to work out for us, but we got them. I'm really looking forward to Jamie Getz to be able to be our kicker because he has star dev trait, he has clutch kicker, he has bronze, or he has silver deep range. So I feel like that's a little bit better than bronze and then winning time. We'll have to see how it plays out. We'll have to do a little playing with the line up there. So, Manu Satele, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with you. Well, I'm going to put him as a wide receiver for now, knowing that we can fully move him somewhere else if we need to later. And then Lonnie Lay, who's a thumper, I'm going to put at the Sam position. And that makes everybody good to go. Colton Joseph is probably going to be our quarterback this year, but Gabari Johnson's going to be a good backup. We're going to redshirt Mike Garfield so that way he can grow. He's not great, only has normal dev trait, but growing in the background will be good for him as we've got him on there. Playing style is what he is looking for. So as long as that doesn't fall, we should be able to hold on to him throughout the year. These two are both seniors. Colton Joseph has some points to grow, which is good for us. Hopefully he has room to grow. We'll find that out in the next week. Owen Chambliss upgraded his dev trait. Nice. Okay. As we continue the off season here, we have gone through and already done all of our upgrades from the training. And I did all those as a manual upgrade, just like I did the year before. This year, we only have 4 players that are ranked 90 or higher. So hopefully that means that maybe just these 2 juniors, Dezmen Roebuck, John Mills, will enter the draft, as well as Owen Chambliss and Colton Joseph, who are both seniors at the end of the year. As you can see, we still have some bottom players on our team that are going to be a challenge to kind of continue to grow and progress. So we're not quite all the way through the rebuilding stage yet. We do have some good players. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with our overall as we continue forward into the next season. Now we're at the encouraged transfer screen. I was afraid I was going to have too many people over the limit. Now the real question is who can we let go of? I think I am going to let Jamal Mabin go. He is a redshirt freshman and he's only normal dev trait. He is from Washington, which is going to break my heart just a little bit, which means it's probably time to let go of Steve Cobbs, unfortunately, because he is just a normal dev trait. He is 80 overall, but we have 5 wide receivers already that are better than him. So he's not going to grow as quickly as these 2 will grow in the next offseason, where they'll get to the 80 and be redshirt freshmen as well. Plus, it will open up some playing time for some of these players as well, like Thad Angel, who wants to be here because of playing time. So, Steve Cobbs, we're going to encourage you. And Jake Flores, who's only normal dev, is going to get cut from the tackle position. Yeah, sorry, David, you're going to be cut. So to be honest, Cortez Smith, you are going to be cut. Since both of these guys are redshirt freshmen, Matt Robinson's never going to see the field, unfortunately, and he's only normal dev trait, so I will encourage him to move on to new situation. However, Dion Yates, I think I will cut you in favor of maybe growing Angel Ezekiel in the background. I'm going to let go of Kevin Babcock from our running back room. All right, Jack Schaefer from Bismarck, North Dakota, you are unfortunately going to be that last cut. Because I've got Nate Siragusa in the background here. He's from Washington, and we're trying to keep the Washington players on the Washington team. So for now, I feel like our best situation is going to be just trying to get to the off-season training boosts for some of these position groups. And since he has everything offense, first we'll fill out the offensive side of the ball, and then we will go to the defensive side of the ball here. But which position group needs it more? 90, 91, 89. That is phenomenal. And Zadrius Rainey Sale might want to enter the transfer portal at the end of the year. He's an 88, and he's worried about pro potential. We're starting to lessen the amount of players that want to enter the transfer portal. Let's come over here to my roster. And let's see which position group needs to grow faster on the defense. So a bunch of young guys here. Probably my defensive line needs to grow faster. It's a tough call. I think I'm going to go with our defensive line. Washington has had a fair amount of defensive line and like cornerbacks or safeties that have been drafted in the NFL as of late. So maybe I put one in each category since I've got 18 points left. And then when we can get down and a couple more points, we can get down to tier 3 if necessary. But so far, I like where we're sitting at right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and leave a like and smash that subscribe button. And a comment down below if you'd like to see another team done like this in the future.